Hi, welcome to COIS/FRSC 2750H, Module 3, and in this module we're going to be talking about secure systems, what they are, and why they don't really exist, and we'll talk about malware. So what is a secure system? What attributes should a secure system have? Well, it should prevent people, at least unauthorized people, from reading the data stored. Prevent unauthorized people from altering the data which is being stored. Prevent people from stealing the data which is being stored, or even worse, preventing people from deleting the data which is being stored. So these are all properties of a secure system. Before we do this, we need to look at some questions regarding secure systems. Like one question is, what information are we trying to secure and where is it stored? You're not going to be able to secure your information unless you know where it is. The next question to ask yourself is, why do we care about this information? Why do we need to keep it secure? What is it about this piece of information which is valuable to us? And the next step, after we've done that, is to see who would want to access this type of information. If we're a manufacturer and this is blueprints to some new device we have, then our competitors would want to steal this information. Another question is, what would be the result if someone actually did steal this information? Again, in the case of your competitor, they can beat you to the market if they can steal your intellectual property. And finally, what can we do to mitigate the damage if they actually do access the information? We can try to encrypt it to see that if they do steal it, they can't understand it. Or we can try to come up with different plans to see how we would deal with the circumstance if somebody did steal, say, our blueprints. So malware. Malware is one of the things we can use to compromise a system to make a so-called secure system unsecure. So malware basically is software that does something above and beyond what it's advertised as being able to do. Generally, this is doing something bad. So some examples are viruses, worms, Trojan horses. A Trojan horse is something which kind of hides in the background. And let's say it's a Trojan horse which is going to fire up anytime you access a banking website. In Canada, there's only 6 major banks, so anytime you go to a banking website, it fires up and it starts to capture your keystrokes. So it can try to capture your username and your password, and once you have that, they can go in and loot through your bank account. So how do they capture your keystrokes? Well, they use a keystroke logger. All that this does is every time you press a key on the keyboard, it captures that information and sends it along to wherever the bad guys are. There's spyware. Spyware can do things like track your internet usage, see what websites you go to, see how long you stay there, see what programs you use on your computer. This is spyware. There's also adware. This is maybe not quite as nefarious, but what this does is it maybe redirects you to shopping sites. So let's say you want to go to Amazon and you get redirected to Chapters. That's probably adware. Before I go, I want to talk a little bit about PRISM. PRISM is a program set up by the NSA to monitor internet traffic. You may wonder how it is that the US can monitor traffic on the internet since the internet is worldwide. Well, the diagram on the right shows us why. If you look at the little circles, you see US and Canada, and look at the size of the lines emanating from US and Canada. This is bandwidth. So this is the pass followed by information on the internet. And you'll see almost all of it goes through the US and Canada. Since US law allows the US to access information stored physically on US soil, they can monitor internet traffic going through their servers as long as they're based in the US. So if you look at this, you can see if you're, say, in Latin America and you want to send an email, say, to someone in Europe, it's probably going to go through the US. If you're in Asia and you want to send an email to Europe, it's probably going to go through the US. Even in Canada, if you're in Peterborough and you go to send an email to somebody in Toronto, it probably goes to the US before it gets to Toronto. So this is how the US can monitor a very large chunk of the internet. What kind of information were they gathering using PRISM? Well, you can see emails, videos, photos, voice over internet protocol, that's phone calls, file transfers, anything going on the internet. It's also interesting to see the companies who are cooperating with this program and when they started to cooperate. If you look at this graph, you can see Microsoft in 2007 became part of the program, then Yahoo, Google, Facebook, YouTube, Skype, AOL, and then Apple finally in 2012. So basically anything you do on the internet is being monitored by the PRISM program. So it's pretty hard to talk about secure systems when governments are making all systems unsecure by monitoring their internet traffic. Okay, so have fun with the module and do what you're supposed to be doing next, which is, of course, reading the course notes, reading the textbook, doing the quiz, doing the discussions.